Hey everyone out there in Facebook land. This is Barbara Horde, host of I Am This Woman, and I want to welcome you to our show. Yes, I said show. Shut up, right? You know, it's really interesting when I think about it. This is show number 2, and what I'm super excited about is the feedback that I'm receiving. So many people have said, look at you, look at what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. How do I get involved? I am so glad to announce that we have almost 3 months of guests that are scheduled. And we have some special guests that are going to be coming on for reoccurring guests, and you'll learn more about that. But what I want to tell you about is, if you're asking, like, what is I Am This Woman? So, you know what this is? This is me saying, I want to do something and bringing it to life. How many of you out there are really have this passion, this desire that you want to create? And you sit on it and you think about it. And I can tell you like this, I have created so many different programs for women. Started them, failed, tall, fall, all of that. Well, guess what? I'm doing a show, I Am This Woman. So this is what we are talking about. We had an amazing guest on last week, and now we have an incredible woman who is coming to here. And you know, when I look about and I think about who's going to come and who is going to share, the whole thing about I Am This Woman is, what are you doing that's going to make a difference? What are you doing that can impact someone who's watching? And I'm going to read this because if I even come close to trying to remember her name, I will forget it, and she'll laugh at me because I asked her 3 times how to pronounce this. So my guest is ErikaOsceola. See? Anunaku, and guess what? And I probably said it wrong, and she'll correct me, and that's okay, because this is what it's about. It does not have to be perfect. It really doesn't. So here she is. She's going to be on talking about letting go of identity and eternal acceptance of becoming. So everyone, let's welcome Erika. Hi.
I love this woman. I do.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you.
And I'm looking at the bottom. Is there anything there that's saying, like, what's that say there?
I can't see.
I can't see either, but I'm going to go closer because I want to make sure that you guys are. Oh, it's just tag a friend. We're going to tag Erika. Hey, how you doing? I'm real close, right? Mwah. Okay. So, here we go. Erika.
The green room is amazing, by the way. I was so excited while I was waiting in the green room to come on and sit with Barbara Horde. I couldn't believe that I'm actually an invited guest on the Barbara Horde show. I Am This Woman. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, and you know, what's great about it is I reached out to you and you were like, yes, of course.
I was waiting.
Yes, she was waiting. And you know what? What I love about this is that your whole thing is talking about letting go of identity. Mm-hmm. And when we had a conversation about that,
yeah,
I was kind of like, can you let go of your identity? Because it threw me for a moment, and I had to take a few days to really think about this. So help us to understand, when you talk about letting go of identity, what does that mean?
Okay, so like, I feel like everything we've ever learned and been taught in this society is upside down. We've been taught to hold on to things. You know, we want ownership. We want to own things. We want to, you know, when you're a baby, the first thing you do when somebody puts their finger in your hand is you grab it, you know. So we have this whole thing about holding on to things. We hold on to relationships past the due date. We hold on to last names. We hold on to, you know, pseudonyms. We hold on to a lot of things. And I have spent the first half of my life doing that, you know, holding on to all these identities, recreating identities, even through spirituality, wanting to create more identities, you know, for what? You know what I mean? Like, that was really me needing that. So as I am in a new transition, in a new cycle of my life, I found that the way through was to let go. I had to begin to let go of the things. I had to begin to let go. I had to begin to, you know, let go of certain levels of control, to allow certain things to move in, which would allow for more letting go, more realization, more truth, more, you know, understanding. And maybe there was understanding, but somehow or another, this hasn't been working thus far, so this seems like being the solution. So, you know, for many years I played the game, you know, in identity land. I wanted it all, you know. I was a wife, I was a mother, I was the hairdresser, I was this girl, I was that woman, I was this woman, I was this woman, I was spiritual, I was this, I was that, and loved all of it, you know, loved all of it. But lately, as this major shift is happening with everybody, it just seems like the call has been to really release things. And as I've done that, I've only allowed myself to step into my truth. And the first part of that truth was letting go of the identity of wife. That one was tough, but it was my truth, you know. And when I did that, certain freedoms came in. It began a whole cycle of undoing, owning, taking responsibility. So it was creating me to be me without an identity, really, but just becoming.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure you're speaking loud enough and everything,
Okay.
just because this is so new. So as I build,
Should I be looking?
Well, you can do both.
I can.
Yeah,
okay.
It's so important to
Okay.
look at, like,
Engaged
Steve.
it,
Do you love that? She's
right,
like, should I
yeah.
look at you? Should I look at the? Do what you do and what makes
Okay.
sense, right? But I think this is really interesting. When we were in the car earlier, we were talking about how we are literally labeled. So we're born and we get the birth certificate. That's your first identity, right? So that identification, right? This ID.
Right.
Then you end up and you're having the social security card. But then you're turned around and you're put in school and they say,
Number.
here's an ID number.
Yeah.
And every school you go to, you end up with an ID number. When you go into the job market, yeah, you get an ID. And I think what's really interesting is when you talk about identity, for me, as I create this show, as I do things, you know, I'm not going the norm. I'm not, you know, doing the house, the car, the corporate job, all of that. I really am starting to create my own identity. So when you mentioned the whole thing about identity, it threw me for a while, because I'm like, we've been taught to be a certain way. And I think that's where, when you mentioned letting go of identity, I'm like, how do I let go of my identity?
That is a really big question.
Yeah. You know, and so I guess my question is that not only do you talk about letting it go, but then you talk about really this eternal acceptance of becoming.
Yeah, because becoming is going to be eternal. It's never going to end. It doesn't have a border. It doesn't have a boundary. Because the one thing I like about your show is I am. Even though it's this woman, you know what I mean? We don't
Right.
define that. I am, to me, is the ultimate goal. You know what I mean? To become that space of I am. You can, you know, become whatever is necessary for that time, that moment, or whatever you're here to do. It does tap you into your purpose and more of your truth. And I just find that letting go of those identities, it does come with a level of fear, because there are some things that are so deep rooted in our society, you know, based in the way of doing, holding on, being equated with something and it's all false senses of security, but somehow it makes us feel secure, you know what I mean? But it's really false. It really is. It's so plastic, it's so illusional, so see-through, that when you really take a look at it, it challenges it instantly. But it's like, you know, stepping into all that, it was a lot of fear. It was a lot of unworthiness, because so much of our worthiness is tied into so much of this stuff. So it was a real interesting thing of letting go, but it was also, there was a truth inside me, there was a knowing inside of me. There was this connection happening that was arousing my interest. It was calling me, it was like love, you know, it was calling me. This love was calling me to come and move further. Just like a physical love would compel you to move in together and begin to create together or build a life together. Well, this love doesn't have a physical being attached to it. It's just this call. You know, it's this energy, and I'm so enamored by it that it's like I'm just saying yes. You know, I'm saying yes to the knowing. I'm saying yes to the truth. I'm saying yes to the visions, to the seeds, to the purpose, you know, and I'm saying yes to something beyond this. You know, A Course in Miracles has a saying that there's a world beyond this one, and that is the world that I want. There's something about that just says this is possible.
Yeah.
And riding in the car, my sister mentioned freedom, and like that has been it. It's like I can dig that, because we are creating our reality, but you cannot do that in the box. You cannot do that through form. You know what I mean? You have to see form as formless, you know what I mean, and be able to step into that, grab hold to that, and understand that, and even become that. You know what I mean? And it's a dance. It's a dance, because it's a surrender.
So.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a total surrender.
I think it is, and you know, it's so funny.
And trust.
Oh, big time. Well, you know how interesting, because you're saying trusting yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what it is.
Yes, trust in you. And how many of us, when we make a mistake, when we have something happen to us, We literally beat ourselves up. And then we don't beat ourselves up for 1 day, 2 days. We're talking about years.
Or I'm going to say, since we've gone beyond that, dependency. Depending on somebody else as trust. And that's been a big thing, and that's part of the freedom. Look at all the dependencies in our society, all the systems, all the regulations, going into a job, going in to clock in to make this money. You're dependent on that to make money that's not even really sustaining your lifestyle. We're still struggling. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a dependency, knowing that there's somebody by my side, but we're still not happy. We're still not making it. But it's just that knowing that somebody's there that makes you feel more secure.
Right.
That, that it's an interesting thing that you can trust what's happening. But really it is about the deepest trust within yourself. It's a deep trust, and I've heard that many times. You're going to have to trust yourself deeper than you've ever trusted yourself before.
Yeah. And
trust me, there are a lot of naysayers. When you start stepping out and stepping in,
sure.
People are looking at you like, what are you thinking? Like, I just retired from being a hairdresser. That's the last piece of my identity between wife, mother, and hairdresser, because mother even shifted in a major way. A lot of that is about letting go of the attachments and expectations that you have in your children and that they have in you, according to the definitions that we've been given,
right?
Of how I should be as mom, or how I should be as this or that. Letting go of all that and learning to shift is really challenging me more than anybody else around me, because I realized that I had expectations too. But I realized there's a bigger picture happening.
Well, I think what's interesting is that with my son, he is 23, and he is definitely going his own road. He's doing his own thing. And I think what's really interesting about that is that, I've always you need to go to college. You need to, get this job. You need to do this. And he literally went and did it his own way at this one company. He's on to his third promotion. He's teaching himself. He's doing totally his own path. But what I like about it is he's not attached to having it look a certain way. And he's taught me so much, and I think that's powerful. So, the question, so when I was thinking about this, and I said, when you let go of this identity, what shifted in your life when you started to let it go?
Okay, so one thing that happened is I stepped into my truth. And it affected everybody around me for a really positive, it was more positive energy happening. But first I was being true to myself, and that was important. That was an agreement. Me and me were starting to align a little bit, okay? We're not going to keep denying each other or living this half-truth. So now that happened. I stepped into my truth. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that the declaration that was hiding underneath the bullshit and the lie began to rise up. And the declaration was, I just need to be by myself. Because wife was the first major identity, that I need to be by myself, I need to heal myself, and I need to see what I can create. And I want to, give some energy to my children, and then I want to see what I can create my own space. And since that, I've created Sky Above, Date Night and Dine, which you can check on the Facebook.
Hold on, wait a minute, whoa. I love this. I love how she just kind of slipped that in there.
While we're there.
But I think this is important, because part of you finding your identity and then letting go of things, you ended up having this creation which I think is powerful. So let's talk about Sky Above.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to understand. What is it? Just share with everyone out there. What's going on?
I'm going to keep it brief because I really want people to understand what I said.
Oh, we're going to still have that,
but
I think it's also so powerful. Here's the thing about it, guys. There's one thing there's a lot of groups out there, and I can come on here and I can say, join this group, and this is great, and this is what I believe in. But this is also about encouraging women and what they're up to and sharing that with everyone. So explain Sky Above Dining.
Sky Above Date Night and Dine.
Date night and dine.
Date night and dine. Okay, so I was sitting and I had just stepped into my new truth. So now I'm raising 5 children by myself, 4 children by myself because one was away, and figuring it out because I hadn't been independent in a minute, and I stayed longer because I was afraid and felt inadequate. So now here I am, and I'm sitting on this couch, and I'm in silence and solitude almost 360 days. And towards the end of the year, I sat on the couch and I was like. And I went into a meditation, and I began to see the vision for setting up tables on my lawn, decorating them, making beautiful meals, and doing this thing. And I popped up out of that meditation like, I've got to write this down. This is good. And so I gave myself 30 days. I said, in 30 days, this is going to be up. and Mama's gonna pay the bills, and we're gonna be all right. Well, that didn't necessarily happen, but I did get it going. I did start my first season a year ago, and it was breaking conversations within myself. And not only that, I was just big and bad enough for the universe to give me something and to say yes and thank you and bring it forth. So Sky Above now began to grow into a bigger vision, and it is the seed of a very big vision, which I am here to do. That's my purpose, and I'm passionate about it. And so now we have the second season of Sky Above Date 99, and now there's the music piece, because also in that vision was an amphitheater. So that piece is living and breathing. This Saturday is the first amphitheater on the lawn. You can go on that Facebook event page and check that out. So that was one of the truths that came forth when I stepped out of the identity of holding on to being a wife. Can you imagine? This one little title was holding me back from creating sustainability, financial freedom, something that I can retire from hair from, and let go of the identity of hair. But yet, Sky Above doesn't hold me to any identity. It just exists. It's just here to serve, and it serves a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
So that was part of it.
And that's powerful, because I think the thing about it is we have these thoughts and these visions, and we talked about these dreams, but we say that dreams it's what you do when you're lying down, right? And then you wake up and you're like, oh, I have a dream, and then you hold on to it, and maybe you dream about it again. But you've created a vision, and you brought it together. And I'm going to tell you this here is a vision, what we're doing here. It's when you step out of that comfort, is when you step into saying, this is what I'm up to, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm doing. Now, I know there's some people are going to say, I said, like, you can't let go of identity. What do you say to people who are like, identity? How do you let go of your identity?
That's still unfolding. That for me right now, after just letting go of the hairdresser piece, is really, it's been a lot about non-attachment. It's been a lot about self. It's been a lot about going inward a lot and being with me, being with my beliefs. I believe in spirit and the ancestors. So spending a lot of time cultivating those relationships. I realize that I am one with everything. Like, I am them when they're speaking to me. But it's like just an I amness. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the realest thing I can say. That moment that Moses had, like, I am that I am. It's like there is no real anything that I can really identify myself with at the moment. Now, that's not to say that I can't continue to walk through this life and pick up one. You know what I mean? Because people are going to identify me, and that's fine if people do that. But for me, my prayer is to really be hollowed out, to just be like in service to humanity, however that looks, to fulfill the purpose that I came here to fulfill, to the badassness that I can do that, meet the people that I'm here to meet, have the experiences I'm here to have, and I don't feel identity in any of that. I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I got a passport.
Right, yeah, because you're
right,
on the
you know what I'm
right.
saying? Right.
But this is powerful, because I know one of my old coaches, Charlie Schwartz, he says, if someone says, when you think about it, like, I am this, 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 and he goes, but when it really comes down to it, it's I am. And what a difference it shifted into me. Now, I can say that I am creative and I'm loving and I'm beautiful and all that, but when it really comes down to it, that I am begins it all. And for this, I am a host, I am a creator. But I think that what is so incredibly powerful is that when you mention about the ancestors, because I think that who we are also, a lot of it comes from our past and what's within us. So I would love to have that conversation about when you're talking about ancestors. Explain that, because I think about my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and the slaves that have come before me, and the strength of the women in my family. Yeah. That was extremely powerful. So talk to me about this ancestors.
Okay, so I'm a newbie, I'm coming into it, but I'm very open to their energies and the connections, and I'm learning and growing. And what I've come to find out about the ancestors is I've heard them say, like, some of them have come to correct their errors through us, because some of them see more clear, they understand better. Some of them are here to fulfill works that they couldn't finish, because time is limited on earth. So what I feel from the ancestors, there are ancestors above, there are ancestors here, there are ancestors, in nature, definitely feel a connection to the trees, the stones and the ocean, the elements, like all of it is living and speaking. And if you just allow yourself to connect with it, you can really come into that oneness with all that is. So for me, with the ancestors, I feel more surrounded by grandmothers right now, and that's why I was saying the women who walk with me, I feel very connected to the ancestors of Egypt. Their energies are amazing and very supportive for helping me remember my sovereignty, for helping me remember the sovereignty that we hold here, that we are sovereign, but yet we are humble, and we get to bring both into this existence, and we get to fulfill our purpose. There's so many messages, everybody's are different. The Native American ancestors have definitely taught me about the love of nature, and just the strength within. So, it still evolves. It still evolves as I, open myself up, through the way of the heart. The heart is an amazing organ. It's a masterpiece. You know what I mean? And as we allow that to open and expand, you open up to that, to God. That's the place where they dwell. That's the pathway they come through to navigate and move through. And you're going to have an open heart to serve humanity in the capacity where we are creating freedom, where we are creating and tearing down, certain systems of things that we're just saying no more. You know what I mean? And it's going to cause us to have to trust one another. So if I can't trust myself, how am I going to trust anybody else?
Yeah.
When I trust myself, I create safe space, and then whoever's not trustworthy comes into my space has to be trustworthy, because it can't go any other way. And you get to trust yourself, and as each one keeps reaching out, and my biggest thing is funny. A lot of people text me, and my biggest thing is I say I am here. I always do a type capital I am here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like that's what I have to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing about it is that when we're speaking about something, because I think like I sit back here and we're sitting on the patio and I see cars driving by and I see all this, and as we evolve and as things end up happening, what is incredible to me is that everything has been built based on our ancestors, right? What they created. But what you said was something really powerful. You said some of them are here because they did not finish.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that. I believe when I look at some of my ancestors, like there was something that was not even a possibility. They were maids because that's all they knew. The grandmother was and the mother, and it was, you're gonna be a maid and you're gonna, take care of the children and you're gonna do this. And what a powerful thing, because I want to be this woman that lifts up my ancestors to say, the gifts that you've given me, I turn around and give to the world.
The best thing you can do is hollow out.
Yeah.
So that they can work through us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it may sound spooky, but channeling is real. Like, we have to hollow out. We have to just become a holy, sacred space for them. And I say holy because the ancestors are holy. Like, they're honored, to be honored, they're to be respected. You know what I mean? And however they come through, they might, well, that's a whole other thing. So yeah, I think that to hollow out gives them the space to work through us, because we don't want to interfere and get in the way. We want to bring it through their experience, their new wisdom, their knowledge, you know what I mean? The love that they're tapped into on the spiritual side, and bring that to us here. You know what I mean? Because we can say we love and we have this love, but as long as we're functioning from this three-dimensional energy, that it's always going to be that three-dimensional energy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just get it now. It's like, as long as it's coming from here, it's going to be from here. You got to go higher. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You got to raise the vibration. You got to reconnect. You got to, ground in there. You know what I mean? Whatever that looks like, because my experience is my experience, and I can't shove that down somebody's throat. But in order for that to happen, Barbara, you have to hollow out. Like, you have to, Well,
you do the work, and it's funny. I was having lunch with my best friend yesterday, and she says she was doing this course, and then she goes and she says, I don't understand why I cannot continue to be happy. And I said, where were you getting your happiness? And she says, well, when he said this, that just really moved me. And I said, so your happiness was trying to come from this book or this video or that. And that's never where it's going to be. And as I sit here, like I literally feel your energy, I feel your vibration, I feel your movement, I feel your passion for what you're up to. And like I told her, you will never find, the job is never going to be enough. The car, the home, it'll never be enough because you're always searching. You're always trying to figure it out. You're always wanting more. You're always trying to say, if I can do this, then it would be okay. You know, and I think that what's so different and with this book that I'm reading right now is that when I listen to it, he says, instead of working harder, work happy. And it hit me because we do have a choice. We have a choice. Yeah. So I have a question for you then. So, you know, when I think about certain things, like how do you start your day? Because how I start my day is something that's so incredibly important for creating. And it's not jumping up, getting your phone and seeing what someone did.
Yes.
You know, that's what it's like. It's like, hold on.
No, listen.
Oh my gosh.
I'm coming away from that because it is so tempting to just, you know, check and see. I get it. You know, because in creating this, in having this business, you know, it's not a business, in creating the vision and staying on doing things to, you know, get it out there. Sometimes I'm like, okay, let me see, you know, and I'm constantly just promoting. I get that. The starting of my day has become sometimes laying on my back in my bed and grounding myself within myself now, because I am at peace with what's happening within myself. I know that there's good stuff inside of myself. So now I find myself grounding myself from within and anchoring myself to the earth mother, deep, deep, deep anchoring, you know, and I anchor myself deep into the earth mother.
I'm going to stop here for 1 second. There's going to be people who are going to be like, wow, but like she's woo, because there's a woo, maybe, right? Maybe so, but I think about it is that when I figure this way, you can anchor yourself within to you and what's within, or you can anchor yourself to a phone or someone putting out a picture who says like, my favorite is their whole rest of their house looks like it's been torn from the top bottom, but meanwhile they got a picture and they're like, stop it. So it makes me laugh when that happens, because I'd rather see the mess and know that I'm not alone than to turn around and have this pretend life that we're having to have, you know? But so I think that, and I think it's also important, the reason why I like to have different people on is because maybe it's something that you're doing. Like before we got on, Erika took a moment and she came out on the patio and she was like, I just need a moment, right? And she just went into her quiet space, which I get because...
Oh, yeah, that quiet space.
Yeah, and it's important because I think there's so much noise going around. You drive to work. Your mind.
Right.
So there's someone in the car who's racing to get to where they're going. There's someone at work. You have to do it the right way. And then all of a sudden, you have the stories that you're telling. I was doing that story this morning going, who am I to have a show? Who, right?
She's Barbara Horn, ladies and gentlemen. That's it.
But I did. I was like, who am I? Who do I think I am to say I'm going to put up a show? But I have to tell you, then I thought about it. And then I got into this place of gratitude. What are the 3 things that I'm grateful for personally? You know, what are the things, like I'm planning a girls trip with my best friends, which we're trying to figure it out. Letting an 18-year-old plan a travel thing is interesting, but boy, are we having fun with it. Right, we are.
Let the kids do it.
But you know what my thing is though, I was laying in bed thinking, what am I doing here? What if no one looks at this? What if no one talks about it?
Yourself.
Yeah. And someone posted, Lulu, who I used to work with, she posted and she said, what if Rihanna never made her makeup company because of the fact that there are other makeup companies out there?
Yeah. This is the thing, and I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because right now, social media is overwhelming because the energy right now is creating and everybody's doing it. And if you look too long, you can almost feel like what you're doing isn't relevant, or you get a little anxiety like shit. You know, so sometimes in those moments, cut that shit off. Like it's in your power to say, I'm not doing that right now. I'm going to, you know, just kind of take myself out of that equation. Just keep focused on what I've been given to do and put my time and energy in that.
Yeah. And you know what it said? this is perfect. There's no other Barbara Hort here. So whatever I'm doing is what I'm doing, which I believe, like you said, is what within. That's, I call it your essence, right? Yeah. It's within you. Yes. So here's a question. What can you do to make the world a better place?
Just be.
Say it louder, so just in case the people in the back.
Just be.
Oh my gosh.
Just be, and continue to allow my guidance to guide me, because I find that that's also really, really powerful in itself. Sometimes when I don't know, but I just kind of move and flow with whatever I'm feeling at that moment, and allow it without second guessing it or controlling it, or, you know, allowing something else to come in and bombard my time, but just going with that thing. I realized that at the end of the day, it all made sense why I did that. You know, whether it's making space in the garage and all of a sudden somebody's like, I got a car, or whatever, you know, just, you know, it's just being. It's being, and it's just flowing with the guidance. And really quick, I didn't want to sound woo-woo, but back to what I do in the morning, because I feel like this is important, and I create a sacred space. I think if you can do that for yourself, that's important, whether it be outside or inside. I think a lot of people do that, but what I've been doing is doing fires. I've been literally doing fires outside in a circle that I've created, and I've invited people that I love into that circle because it is sacred. And sometimes I'll do fire and I'll just sit by the fire, and it's enveloped in nature, and the sun will be coming through, and I just begin to give all my thanks to everything, to all that is, and allow myself to come into that oneness with all that is.
Yeah.
And another thing about this concept too, about losing identity, is also letting go of the concept of time, which you get there when you start creating your own.
Yeah.
But losing attachment to time and time frames and everything attached to dates and times. I mean, granted, I'm still here playing the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, because, you know, the next sky above is February 14th and 15th. But what I'm saying is, you know.
But you know what I like with the fire? There's something, I remember writing things down to let go of things, right? And burning and letting that go. And it's something really powerful that when you have, I know, over 5 years ago I was let go from a job, and it crushed me. Not crushed me to lose my identity, lose how I
question your identity. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Right.
And more than questioning my identity, questioning the people who I thought were in my corner, and how it's almost like they look at you from this shame place. So then to me, I'm already looking at myself from a shame place, and then I've got others. I'm so proud of myself now of how far I've come. Yep. But I'm going to tell you, that was crushing, and I had to write it on paper. So I love the idea of the fire. I love the idea of letting that go.
And sister, I don't mean it. Imagine if you didn't have, and having that identity and that attachment to that job is just another conversation that attributes to the unworthiness, right?
Yes.
So now we got to dig ourselves out of that hole. I'm coming into a place where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you just gotta trust. You just gotta trust yourself, because that's what that contributes. Because I remember the first time my kids were like, "Mom, you going to work today?" And I was like, "No." I went into the unworthiest place. I don't work today, but my kids.
Well, your kids, and how do you take care of them? And then they're like, because let me tell you what kids, when I lost my job, I literally cleaned houses. I was a clown for a party. I did babysitting. I did whatever it was so that my son didn't even think twice about it. And it's so interesting too, because I know at Christmas he wrote something, and he said to me, he says, "Thank you for being who you are to me and to others."
Yes.
It gets me emotional.
It should
because I'm so proud of where I'm now.
Yes.
Because I'm proud of whatever has gone through. Like for me, I had to go through that to be here now. You know, and that's what really moves me to be. Well, David DiGiorgio, if you're watching this is one of my amazing coaches. David is an incredible person who constantly tells me, "Barbara, stop trying to do and be. Be. And I think that's what this is that being in this space with you, like I literally feel joy here. I feel joy, and I feel the gratitude. So,
and your freedom. You know,
oh my gosh, isn't it cool?
That you're creating.
That's my word for the year. I think that's my word for the next 3 years.
Listen, hey, This is our word for the next cycle of 9 or 10 years or whatever we're going into. And the freedom that I see you, and you know what else comes with this loss of identity and creating your reality? It's like childlike wonder. You know what I'm saying? Like you get giddy and shit.
You get so right? Yeah.
And you laugh and we have time to play.
Well, my favorite is when you came out and you're like, oh, your green room was so amazing, and I was like,
it's fun. Like we're creating. Because the sister's going to have all that. Like I don't negate that this is it right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is it right now.
Yeah.
And that's the loss of attachment with time. Like I get that. Yeah. Okay. But it's here right now. This is what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And think about what it is that you want to do right now, and how are you holding back? And maybe with your identity that you are saying, this is who I am, and who told you that?
Rigid rules of society, the rigidity of the patriarchal systems. I can tell you who told you.
She's going for it.
I mean, I'm saying, you know what I mean? But it's like it's time out for that because the grace is there. I mean, I feel it. You can feel it. It's like come and flow. If you're open, we are open.
Well, I've got something else for you then. How do you handle failure? And then how do you decide to keep going?
I don't believe in failure.
Okay, good. So explain.
I don't. It's an illusion. It doesn't even exist. I think it was a word that was created once again, like age. You know what I mean? Like the attachment to something that takes you back, that takes you time to recoup from, that makes you second guess. I don't believe in failure. The only thing that you either do it or you don't. You know, you either say I have this seed, and hey, no more dreams. We're not doing visions and dreams. We're doing visions and seeds. Seeds.
Well, because I think that that's important when you say that, because I can tell you I dreamt this for something like this for the longest time, and then when I dreamt it, I think what happens is where I dreamt it is in my bed, and I laid down, and then I got up and I got ready, and then I went to work and I did everything else, and I need to have it a certain way, and I've decided in 3 years I am going to have a tiny home. I am obsessed with Tiny Home Nation. I am obsessed with, I know the look of it. I know I want to pay it out in cash. I don't know if I'm going to put it on a piece of property or I'm going to put it on the back of a trailer, but I do know that I'm going to have a tiny home. Yeah. And that is so clear for me, without a doubt. Yeah. And I would love to say, taking I Am This Woman on the road and meeting incredible...
Oh, totally.
Yes, incredible women.
A group of sisters at a market or something to be like, hey ladies, I saw that too. I saw myself just traveling and meeting women and going into their homes and having meals with them, and they're inviting their friends, and we just have this. Yes,
it's a conversation, and it really is important.
Man, no limits.
And you know what about I Am This Woman? What it really comes down to is this: it's about really encouraging you to decide, encouraging you to engage, and it's encouraging you to create. And it's. I love the fact that she is saying is that when we bring guests on, it's because what is it that you're doing in the morning? What are you doing? And what is possible when you really step into letting go of the identity, right? And then embracing, like
becoming.
Allow it to be just David DiGiorgio, this woman here, right? Because it's becoming. It's not, you don't have to have it look a certain way. And I think that I love the fact of when I think about identity, and it says like I identify, right? What do you identify with? And when I hear that, and so you really do have me open to thinking about what is it? Because when I'm doing certain things, I hear, oh, I'm so sorry you lost your job. I'm so sorry. And then you get this. Oh. And I, for the longest, so how many of you out there have lost a job, had a breakup, lost money, something happened to you, and it crushed your spirit? But I think that, like you said, there is no failures, because within that, you grow.
And loss implies almost like it, maybe it can or can't be recovered. You know what I mean? It's not your choice. Loss is almost like it's been snatched or taken or, decided for you. That's why we even played around with that. She said the loss of identity. I was like, not feeling lost. No. The release, and we were like, and it was like, no, it's a letting go, because it is your choice, because the power of choice is always going to be a divine right. You know what I mean? And so it was just you either choose to let it go and step into facing all your fears and walking through all that stuff that you're undoing, facing the generational curses, facing your stuff and all the stuff that you've allowed, and take ownership for it to heal and release, transmute it, whatever you do with it, your energy, those energies, or can decide not to. You know what I mean? Because it's just too much to think about. It's too overbearing. It's too, you know what I mean? And know that blessings on that. You know what I mean? Like there's no judgment.
Well, this is a great part, because what if someone is listening out there and they say, you know what, this speaks to me about this whole they could be, because you could be saying, what the heck, and what was she talking about, right?
The mothership is going to be here soon, so let's wrap it up.
But what it could be also is someone out there might be saying, you know, letting go of this identity really supports me. So what would be the one thing that you would kind of support someone else's, that if they're saying this whole identity thing really speaks to me and letting go of that would help me, what would be the first step for them? And I know this is your own journey, but if you went on this journey, you've paved the path. That means that you could support someone else in doing that. Yeah.
That's an interesting question, and I don't know if I have the answer. It's really through your experience. You just have to be courage.
See, she did now.
Courage. That's how it all began. I was walking somewhere one morning. I was sitting outside this building. I was waiting for something, so while I sat and waited, I began to enter into some prayers. And all of a sudden, my prayers felt to move this way, and I began to pray for courage. I began to pray for courage. Everyone is connected around me, with me, and then all of a sudden, I just began to pray for courage. And I felt my spirit resting in that prayer for courage. For courage. Give me strength. Give me the courage to face what I need to face. Give me the courage to step into whatever I need to step into. Just give me the courage, ancestors, you know, spirit. And it was funny because I think within about maybe a few weeks, somebody had come into my job and spoke something to me that just resonated with me, and I knew that it was time for me to let go and retire from the career that I had, from my marriage, from raising my children. I knew it, and I had 2 months. It was weird, and it was falling at the end of the year, divine alignment, divine timing, because that was me stepping into a whole new beginning. You know, I don't do a lot of the New Year thing, you know, resolutions and all that, but it just so happened that when I put in 2 months notice that it was going to end me right at December 31st. And I remember that it was going to take every ounce of courage, because it was scary. I can't lie. Like, I laid there and I had to face a lot of things. I'm talking, the programming is so deep rooted.
Right, that it's, Yeah,
and
it's interesting, even when you were trying to figure it out, you're like, I don't know, but you do know. I think
that was good.
I think the courage is such a powerful thing on whatever you're doing, whatever it is.
If you think you don't know, you really do know.
You do know.
The answer is within you.
Yeah, it is. The within you is the biggest part. I think within all of us has this vision and this thought, and what I'm challenging you to do is to do that. So we're coming to an end with this. Is there anything else, the last words that you want to just share with them about anything that you're like, oh my gosh, think about this, or whatever it is? She'll wait and we'll be in the car, and then she'll be like, oh, now I remember.
Well, I definitely am open to receive any messages that might need to come forth, but I think more than anything, what I would like to just say is this is a very powerful, beautiful time. And to allow yourself to surrender and allow your guidance, to allow things to unfold in your life and release control, relinquish the control, you know, and allow life to begin to flow and trust. It's just, you know, it's almost, you know, people are entertaining all this stuff going on in politics. I get it, and we're looking at the world from one perspective, but there's such a whole nother thing that is possible, you know, and it's going to come through unity and creation. You know, it's going to come from a lot of like-minded people taking a step forward and, you know, being able to depend on yourself, and also to, you know, look to one another, to support one another in some regard. You know, like, I'm raising children. I just let my career go. You know, this isn't a womp, you know what I mean? But I'm stepping out on faith. I won't go and get any government assistance, because I don't want to build another false sense of security, because I am a creator. I can create something that can sustain me, you know, and life will continue to provide for me. And I get to take that step, which can be very scary, because, you know, it's easier to go to the supermarket and buy an ear of corn than it is to plant the seed and be patient to watch it grow.
Wow.
But it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when I look at the trees and they're speaking to me, and I laugh and I say, you know, you started as a seed, and I'm looking up at this tree that's reaching up towards heaven. that seed is me, and that seed is this sister right here, and that seed is you. But you gotta plant it, you gotta water it, you gotta give it an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just gotta.
Isn't that interesting? Because I'm like, what's your last words? And she's like, I have nothing. And then she had.
But that's being.
But that's what
it's
it
just
is.
allowing. Like,
yeah, I love it.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the space that I'm in. Like, I don't know. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's it. Oh, there it is. You know what I mean? And it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with not knowing.
Isn't it beautiful? It's such a beautiful space to be in.
Today, because I used to be a know-it-all.
Yeah. And so I would say this. Thank you again for joining in. Thank you for being a part of this. Ask yourself the question and ask what you need. Like what, because it's there, it's within you. And I love that she said the seed, because we all came from that. We were all this little seed, and then we grew. And look around you. And if you have children, honor them and honor who they are. Honor yourself and connect with the people around you. If you are interested in being a guest on I Am This Woman, you can email me at barbara@iamthiswoman.com. You can send me a message. What's super exciting, like I said, we're almost at 3 months of guests. I'm like, wow. What the heck? Yeah. And you're going to start to see more things where I Am This Woman is really going to come to life. But one of the things that Chandra Brooks, who is one of my coaches, said, she says, Barbara, just do it. Do it. Put on the Facebook Live and go for it. And so, Chandra, I'm going for it. You know, David, you said to me, you said just be, and I'm being. And so that's the other thing. Surround yourself with people that really lift you up. Okay? And it's okay to step back from some who you might not feel they're supporting you. That's so important.
And open your heart, because that will also pull the people to you.
Oh my gosh.
That are meant to be here. Because there's some 5D agreements we made that it's time for them to come into my circle. Because come on, yo. We got creation to do. We got stuff to, we got places to be. We got people to meet. We got destiny. Yeah. We got to move forward.
Yeah, and Chandra said this perfectly. She says, who is your personal board of directors? Like, who are you surrounding yourself with that's saying to you, yes, have a show. Yes, go and build this business. Yes, go and travel the world. That's the people that you want in your corner. Because they're going to be people who are going to tell you what they think you should do. Or, oh, yeah, I was going to do something like that. And God bless them all, right? But do you.
Do it.
So I want to thank you so much for being a part of this and coming on, and I'm sure you'll come back and we'll share some more wisdom and more knowledge. But again, I am Barbara Port. Yes. I am the founder and creator of I Am This Woman, and thank you. And
it's Anunaku.
See, I told you. So why don't you say your whole name and say I Am This Woman and make it?
Okay.
So there you go.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me. It meant a lot. Like, it really did. It just felt good. And it's always good to be invited, especially when it's coming from someone's heart, when they're inviting you in from the heart. It's like, oh man, yeah. So I am ErikaOsceola Anunaku, saying bye. Thank you for listening. And
say that phrase right there on that thing.
I am this woman.
I know, she's like,
I am this woman.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. I love it. This is
I
am this woman.
Yeah, and thank you so much. And for other ones out there, like I said, reach out to me, send me a message, Barbara@iamthiswoman.com, send me an email. We're going to be back next Friday with another special guest, one who I'm so excited, who's flying down from up north. And I know, well, she's down here, and it just happens to work out perfectly.
Okay, cool.
So it's always good and so much knowledge. Sending you guys so much love. Step into who you are, embrace who you are, and know that you are who you are. And I love you just the way you are.
Letting go is safe.
Yeah,
Letting go is safe. It's safe.
Yes. So we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you next Friday. Bye. Mwah.